Yeah. Now we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can relate. You just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheik, Cujo L, Iron Sheik.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flares, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and the movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Chris might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Great COS adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep, got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said?
I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors.
Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and the movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Chris might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be Bay taught the world don't respect y'all. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director, should make sense of course. Music is the food, and the message the medicine. Mumble food is poison, I'm with the golden era veterans. Like Mob Deep, condolences QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarahite, trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabir, Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Spraga and Bujuno, they even killed Peter cause of Macintosh. Still visit digable planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency. Pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady. Cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown video, feathers like a Santa Duke. Initiate invasions, activate our doors every scoop. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flares, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and the movies for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? The slave named Chris might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors.
Yeah.
Yo, come a little closer, man. Let me tell you something. Come a little closer. Not so close, though, man. Stand back. Let me tell you this. Listen to it, okay? Come closer. They say what else and kill it would only make you stronger. But I'm still here a little bit longer. Oh yeah, I should have been a long goner. What goes around comes back around, just like it's karma. What you sow, you're gonna reap because you're the farmer. Nowadays you can't trust your own peeps because some of them ain't farmers. They will sit at the feet of the beast just to eat meat. Beefing I'm not into. This is what I'm into. Rhymes and instrumentals. Yo, come a little closer, man. Let me tell you something. Come a little closer. Not so close, though, man. Stand back. Let me tell you this. Listen to it, okay? Come closer. They say what else and kill it would only make you stronger. But I'm still here a little bit longer. Oh yeah, I should have been a long goner. What goes around comes back around, just like it's karma. What you sow, you're gonna reap because you're the farmer. Nowadays you can't trust your own peeps because some of them ain't farmers. They will sit at the feet of the beast just to eat meat. Beefing I'm not into. This is what I'm into. Rhymes and instrumentals, fundamentals. Yo, I put my pen to the pad and put my thoughts on the line. I knew for a long time you've been trying to stop my shine, but you can't because I'm having a great time in the medulla, which is in the mind. Another one bite the dust now. Don't cry. I did when my grandmama died, but now she's an ancestor. I be having bad dreams. The doctor said it's from the trauma. 500 years and we still dealing with the drama. Question mark, no period, it's all commas. Come a little closer, come on, yo. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something.
More is my status. I used to be black too until I study, found out it's not natural. Used to say a Rastafari to capture is now the inner. No need to burn them out, let them simmer. Douse them in gas, about to light a big blunt. Rappers faking more than women wearing wigs front. Used to be black power, found out there's no power there. Talk a lot of kill crack and shit, white man still standing there. Used to be comedic, left my mind like invalids. Dick Gregory taught me leave those dusty ass pyramids. George G.M. James taught me Moors were custodians. Drew Ali and Jesus taught me watch out for those holy men. Sacrificing animals. Temples smell like butcher shops. Conscious niggas got the pork in the pressure cooker pot. Can't trust my people, they always in denial. Lions say the Israelite wrote names on their trial.
Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. They thought we were N-I-G-G-E-R until we showed them that we G-O-D, we gods. Walking around the earth in the flesh. You gotta be your best at your best. Whether right or wrong, up or down, left or right, side to side. No tattoos, man, no tight jeans, man. I never went to jail and don't wanna go there, man. I took a look at you and be like, yo, like hot damn. What's up with the purse? And what's up with the skirt? And what's up with the makeup? And what's up with the lipstick? You wearing high heels? You not a man, man. You are a man's man. You from the Stone Age land. You like bam, 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 bam. A little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something.
Islam, more.
Islam.
You know we
Yes.
celebrating for Machel right now.
Well, exactly. Well, yeah.
You know we celebrating for Machel right now.
Get your flags and wave it.
You know we're celebrating right now. Hold on a second. Let me get this thing. Let me just play this and then we'll talk about this a little bit.
All right.
Now, you sent me this thing right here, so we just want to give the people a little background on what's going on right here, because it's better we talk to the on the boots to the ground people.
Right. So basically, well, my Moabite sent me this because she's over at Kariani, which is the original name for what is referred to as Trinidad, the island.
Yeah.
So that would be the indigenous name, which is, and then you have this guy Machel, who is like a well-renowned, well-known, like Calypso guy, like Farrakhan basically was. So they're now giving him the keys to the city of Port of Spain, which is the capital of the political jurisdiction of Trinidad. So we were thinking like Spain is somewhere over the Atlantic, right?
Right.
So why would you have a Port of Spain over here?
Yeah.
And then also you have like the red carpet and all that. Well, we'll explain that when we go over the video and all of that, all the symbols and everything, the symbology and all of that. But so it's basically like a ceremony. They're honoring Machel, which is an L, obviously, a Moor. And it's sponsored by a band, a carnival band called Tribe. Right? Tribe. And then in the background, you have a beer company called Carib. And we all know the Caribs are Moors, basically, a Moorish people, who were referred to as or misnomered as Caribs. So it's all in there, you know, so this is what's going on. So they're honoring the Moor in Morocco, northwest of Mexam, Kariani, which is similar to Cairo. It's spelled similar, like as in Cairo, as in Egypt.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. And if you realize as well, the dancers, you would see that they don't have the tassels on their faces. Yeah, so they're just like basically what they're doing, performers.
Right.
But they have some sort of degree, obviously, to have the fez.
Have to know something. Now,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Now what was it? How did it hit you when you seen it?
Well, when I seen it, I just thought about the activity that's been going on in this jurisdiction when it comes to Moors and some of the things that I've been posting and contributing to on this side.
Yeah.
Whereas like recently there's this politician who was in, I think he is in the England jurisdiction or political jurisdiction, but he was like a minister here in this jurisdiction, and then they send him over there to act as an ambassador. But he came on talking about something about blacks and black people and all this stuff. So I put some stuff in the chat asking him, like, who is he referring to? He know that we're Moors, we're not black. So I put some history and stuff. Then he responded with a video, not directly to me, but addressing all the stuff that I spoke about as well. And then also he was like, there was like reference to Charles. He was talking about Charles and talking about the hammer. But I know, or we know, Charles the Hammer was relating to the Battle of Tours with the Moors, etc., and all of that. But other people who were just listening, they won't know what he's talking about and what's going on. So that's how I knew it was in reference to what I was contributing to.
You told him, you know it was directly related to what it is that you had told him. That's what's up.
Yep. And soon after that, you have all these kind of stuff going on. Like even before that, like I recognize what's going on, because it's like the Moors are showing that we're here, we're proclaiming that, you know, we're not Negro, black, colored, we are our ancestors, etc. So it's in the atmosphere. It's getting back to these de facto.
What was the video where the guy was responding to the thing? Where?
Oh, that's on Facebook. I'll have to get that video. I'll send it to you.
It might be on what was the who was it? Who was it that was talking?
It's a guy. His name is David Natkid. He was like an ex footballer, and he became some sort of he had some position in politics. As an MP or as a minister, and then they moved him to being an ambassador. But he was also addressing the issue where they had another politician trying to address the issue that Moors had names of, or undeclared Moors or unproclaimed Moors had names of slaves and not names of their ancestors. So he was also mixing that in, because she's a Hindu and she's a Moor, so she knows about the stuff that's going on, and she's trying to bring it to light and let the people know that these politicians they know exactly what's going on, and they're part of the problem, and they have you in this position that you're in. Because they can easily come out and say, and even the same guy, David Natkid, he said himself, why don't these politicians who are pretending to be also pro-black and African, why don't they change their names? That's what he said. He said, why don't they change their names to African names if they want to be so African?
If they're African like that,
exactly.
Just like if they're so indigenous, why they call themselves Hayes and Callaway and all that? If they're so indigenous, why they call themselves the indigenous whatever? Why you say indigenous name?
Okay, it's the same as what Stay Silent. I don't know what his real appellation is, but that's what he goes on Instagram.
Brother Vincere,
Right, and he was saying as well, if you're so Indian and all of that, why is it that these daughters of the American Revolution and these Klansmen, etc., why do they all have fezzes? Why don't they have feathers? You know, so this goes back to it again. Why is a Calypsonian guy? Why is he not having Calypso, like steel pan players and all of that around him? Why does he have a Moorish parade?
Why do they have a Moorish parade? Right? Like why are they doing this? Why is this the theme? Right, for a Calypsonian, world renowned Calypsonian.
Right?
Why they have these Moroccans dancing and fezzes and veils and all this? This is not supposed to be culture from Trinidad and Tobago. This is supposed to be across the Atlantic culture.
Okay, but Juali said that we're Moorish Americans, and when we look at the word West Indian, you get West equates to America, and then you get the word Indian. We know that Harvard University said they substituted the word Moorish for Indian.
Moorish, so we're saying
Indian for Moorish.
West Moorish.
Yes, so West Moorish or American Moorish or Moorish American. It's the same thing. So Juali Bin said that. So basically, all West Indians or people who refer to themselves as West Indians, they're really Moors or Moorish Americans.
Now, when we say West Indians that refer to themselves as Moors, and then we have this example from our islands.
Okay.
Do you think this includes all the islands, or just limited just to
all of the islands? Because my parents are from an island called Heroon, which is known as St. Vincent and the Grenadines now. And when you go there, they have Moorish petroglyphs that date back to 400 to 600 AD with the children of Atabey. Right? So you have bays in America from 400 to 600 AD.
Yep.
Right? And you have Moorish castles. You have those like Moorish portals in the form of, they call them moon holes, etc. Like these huge rocks out in the ocean with like big arches in the way they would construct the castle arches, which represents like the mother or fertility or the matriarch, basically.
Yeah.
Right? And you know they have the dirt ovens here as well, which also represents the womb or the mother or the matriarch, which the ancients used to bake their breads, etc. And they still do it today. It's still a custom. And another thing is, almost all the houses on the islands, especially here, they all have Moorish arches.
Yep.
So what's that about?
What they call veranda.
Okay, what's this? Like look at like example.
Yep.
Right? It's in my veranda, it's in my bathroom, it's everywhere. Like all the houses, like they're all arches. Everywhere Moorish arches. Moorish everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Honors to the symbol for finding this one.
Yes. Honors
this is a
definitely.
good one. This is a good one. This one,
so
this one right here. And again, we have to ask the question: how come they're not doing no feathers and all that stuff?
Yeah, and where's the steel pan players and all the calypso music?
Yeah, they're talking about Caribs and all that. You know, how they doing Moorish stuff? I thought this is supposed to be, you know, land of the Indians and all that stuff.
Yep. But remember, if you don't study, you're not going to know that Indian is a code word for Moorish.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when you're looking at India, really, you should be looking at Moors.
It must be crazy, because I could only imagine the unconscious Moors there, mad that they're not doing some feathers or gyrating their ass and shaking their ass and all that stuff. No, they're mad.
Well, the thing is, for me, is like I was thinking, like they'll be standing there looking at this, thinking it's something from the Far East or somewhere, like alien. Like they have it really twisted. They thinking it's like something foreign when it's their own culture that they're seeing. Men with fair heads. Like
that's the crazy part. That's the part. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at this. It's like in Thailand. That's what you would have in Thailand. Those headdresses, right? Look at.
Yeah. What is that all doing over here? Why are they using these things to celebrate this calypso singer? Doesn't it make sense? Like why are they honoring a calypso singer with Hindu dancers, Thailand dancers, Moroccan dancers? or are they really testing to see how sleep these people are?
And if you I don't know if it's you can see, but in the video, one of them you can see like on the ground there's like some type of like an X or some type of symbol on the ground. I couldn't recognize it. I don't know. It looks like maybe a compass and square or an X. If you can see it kind of on the ground, they're doing it.
That might even be just like street stuff, maybe.
It's possible,
no
but
parking,
then it's
maybe a no parking area. But why are they on the X dancing?
Okay.
X marks the spot.
Okay, exactly.
X marks the spot.
But I was I was reading something recently, and I don't know if it was Tahinos or Thai-Hinos, which ties back to the Thai people from Thailand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why they're wearing the headdresses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it all relates to Caribs or tribes.
Yeah.
Right? Which is goes back to the Moorish people or Tahino, whatever name they want to call them, but they're all Moors.
Yes,
right? Yep.
Crazy.
I mean, fezzes and everything.
You can't make this stuff up.
Nope.
You can't make this up. No way.
And they're standing. You see the one with Machel standing on the red carpet, representing the Moorish flag, right?
Oh yeah.
Then
yeah.
Then they had the Carib stuff in the back, all of that, and then the guy who is presenting him, the mayor, he's also an L. He's like Joel or something is his appellation.
Hold on, I had an article up somewhere.
Yeah, I think I read an article with him. Look, Machel. Montano.
Oh
right,
yeah, near Joel.
Yeah.
Joel Martinez.
Exactly.
Joel giving Machel to the city, and then they do a Moorish stuff, and you think that Moors is what we're talking about?
Rip.
You really think we know what we're talking about?
Not only give him the keys to port of Spain, and you have Moorish dancers.
Well, not only that, check this too. Montano, who is celebrating 40 years in Soca this year, was presented with the keys to the capital city at a special statutory meeting of the Port of Spain Municipal Corporation.
Okay. And it had something to do with civic, I think, in there. Like something to do with civics as well.
Yeah, in receiving the honor in recognition of his 40 years of dedicated service and his contribution toward the cultural landscape of Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean and the wider world, the King of Soca said, the key to success is consistency, integrity, putting your best foot forward, being fully involved, but most importantly, doing it in the service of mankind. He continued,
sounds like Joali. Good.
Yep, sounds very relative. He continued, this is why I do music. This is why I'm here today celebrating 40 years of servicing my family, my friends, and most importantly, my fans. This key is another opportunity for me to go another 20 years and inspire others. Also speaking at the special statutory meeting, Tourism Minister Randell Machel congratulated Montano on the award, describing him as a trailblazer and an outstanding citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Tribe's 3-day Sunset Weekend experience kicked off tonight with Sunset Theater, a parade from Anna Marie streets along the avenue. The Tribe family of bands, Pure Bliss, Tribe, Rogue, Hearts, Lost Tribe, will unveil their 2023 themes and costumes on Saturday. The celebrations end on Sunday with Last Jam Fete at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. Right, so Randell Mitchell, Joel, and Machel. People are debating Moors about something.
You can't make this up.
No, you're debating Moors. Stop this.
Can't make this up.
Just love more.
Peace and love, Cucho.
Give thanks, more. Give thanks for that one.
Always, anytime. Peace and love to all the Moors in the chat, all the Moors worldwide, all the mothers. All right, Islam.
Playing with Moors. Don't play with Moors. Don't play with damn Moors.
Will get mixed up at. If this technology, because this is where people get mixed up at, this was never founded by L. Ron Hubbard. The Church of Scientology was founded in 1955. Dianetics was founded in 1950. The said Nation of Islam in the West was founded July 4th, 1930, but we know that there is no birth record to Islam. So the technology at the very first page of the book, Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard says, quote, "This is a recording of over 50,000 years of history upon which the system of Dianetics and Scientology would not exist." And he said over 50,000 years, pardon me, of thinking men upon which Scientology would not exist, or Dianetics. The credit is there is no birth record to Islam. So the technology at the very first page of the book Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard says, quote, "This is a recording of over 50,000 years of history." Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard says, quote, "This is a recording of over 50,000 years."
Go to 101, 102, questionary scroll for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. You know what are we told right there? How old is our flag? What's that say? 50,000 years? 50,000 years? Maybe they just both said 50,000 years and it's just a fluke. Maybe it's just a fluke that Drew Ali stuff is talking about 50,000 years, and then Dianetics / Scientology is saying 50,000 years. It's a fluke. Let's just see. Let's just see if it's a fluke. Montauk Book of the Dead, Peter Moon. Page 415, the Ali Shuffle. Any visible threat of the original Moorish Empire had been virtually extinguished or gone underground by the time Noble Drew Ali, then known as Timothy Drew, was born into this world. His fabled initiation in Egypt occurred just about the time L. Ron Hubbard was born. Until I actually composed this book, I would not have been predisposed to connect the character of Drew Ali with either L. Ron Hubbard or the research he conducted on the subject of freedom and oppression. In view of my own experiences with relation to this book, however, the quantum juxtaposition of these two characters stands out like fireworks. Hubbard's work was primarily about the imprisonment and freedom of the spirit. Although Ali and Hubbard might not appear connected at first glance, there is quite a rhythm and rhyme between the two. On the surface, Ali's work might be misinterpreted to appeal primarily to a displaced people and cultural heritage. As my friend Hamza Bey has taught me, the more you learn about the etymology of the word Moor, the more you realize that it is a spiritual identity and ultimately has very little to do with racial or cultural identity. The original Moors made no distinction along racial lines. This was actually an invented distinction to sow seeds of discord amongst the people and to facilitate the disruption of what might best be termed your own infinite spiritual potential. The de-oppression work done by L. Ron Hubbard was the first time he ever initiated techniques that literally began to reach out, restructure the environment on a wholesale basis. It began with the Sea Org itself, and then the Scientology community, but it was spreading with the wild abandon of a forest fire before the fire department came to put it out. As I said, the seeds of this de-oppression technology were said to be based upon the most fundamental purpose of life itself. We are talking about a principle that can literally raise the dead. This is the same stuff which can rearrange matter and change the entire universe. Of course, in de-oppression, we are primarily talking about reviving the Esprit de Corps of a group of people and taking the yoke off their operation. This is, however, a closely related cousin of the fundamental ability to raise the dead. The problem, as LRH stated, was that once people are free, they demand more and more freedom. Anyone standing in the way of that freedom becomes fair game to the people who are demanding the freedom. The information I am writing here and elsewhere in this book has very fundamental implications which not only reach beyond the words of this page but project itself into a region of the consciousness that will not be denied. That is your future. It is your power. How Noble Drew Ali fits into this equation at first glance might not be as exotic as what I have just said. As the story develops, however, it might be viewed as more exotic. In the end, however, they are both part and parcel of the same principle, declaring your lost heritage as a free and infinite being. The fact that you have been able to read what I have just written is only by the thinnest of threads, most of which you have already read about in this book. Only very few Sea Org members and virtually no Scientologists even know about this de-oppression principle, let alone practice it. There is also a contingent of people who left the church who knew about this but are not in any position for various reasons to publish anything on it. Quite amazingly, it has not shown up on any internet posting boards or Scientology histories. On the other hand, you can make an extensive study of the French Revolution and pretty much come up with the same principles. This is what LRH did. My putting it forth into your consciousness is just like water leaking through. Water is very powerful, even in small doses. It can bore a hole through granite. Just as Noble Drew Ali tried to lift the veil of deception from the Moors and their heritage, so did LRH try to lift the veil of deception from spiritual beings in their true nature. It is therefore not really ironic that by giving a proper and respectful funeral service for LRH, I literally gated the Moorish Science Temple into my life. To remind you, when LRH wrote his work on oppression, he stated that the only place left in the world with even a vestigial element of freedom was the United States. This can now be attributed directly to the Moors. None of this would be known if it were not for Drew Ali and the dynamic movement he created, which began to flourish and reach critical mass in 1929. The recognition and uncovering of oppression of the Moors is part and parcel of delivering the best promises of what Scientology in its most exalted aspects had to offer. Learning and understanding Hubbard's information on suppression and oppression, coupled with his unique viewpoints and other application, enabled me to perceive and penetrate the unique mysteries of Montauk Point. The growth resulting from these experiences led me to write Synchronicity, and the Seventh Seal, which ultimately explains the greatest mystery underlying Western esotericism and the secret formula upon which Christianity was based before being badly distorted. This is the real Da Vinci Code, which gave rise to the Italian Renaissance and which was secretly influenced by the Moors. At the current time, the door to Moorish mysteries is opening far and wide. The age of Pisces is at an end, and the Moors are coming to receive their inheritance. Drew Ali instigated this process when he returned to America and released a publication known as the Circle 7 Quran. While Drew Ali did not deliver the concise formula as was clearly delineated in Synchronicity and the Seventh Seal, he represented the energy and was the energy of such. Drew Ali was very much part of the mythos and reality that enabled me to write that book. What Drew Ali wrote was geared towards a format that would be accepted by his people at that particular time. It apparently worked very well. When Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, It was on the heels of one of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Drew Ali ever made. In 1928, Ali attended a Pan-American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem. Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Drew Ali for what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document that would change the face of Moorish science forever and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism. That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups. So what we realize in reading Montauk Book of the Dead, what we realize is that the Nation of Islam, when they joined up with Scientology, it was actually to get back to more science without being able to say out of their mouth, we're back in more science. Obviously, you can't be in more science if you ain't proclaimed your nationality. You can't be in more science if you're not saying turbans and fezzes and exercising Moorish birthrights. So why wouldn't they just get down with more science? Why would they go all around to get into Scientology and all that stuff when they could have just took off their little kufis, grew their little beards, take off their hijabs and all that stuff, and go back to the state that they were in before they started playing BS. Oh yeah, put the flag back up too. Why wouldn't they do that? Obviously they have other motives. Obviously they have other inspirations, because it would have been real amazing to see Nation of Islam take the sign down that they put up there and put the Moorish Science Temple sign back and unban all the fezzes and give these people back their fezzes back and stop giving them Nation of Islam membership cards, start giving them nationality cards again, and Million Man March being the Million More March, and get our stuff back. But no, they don't want to do that. They want to play leadership games. They want to play leader guy games with the people. And then the people are going to have individuals like Rod and these people giving honors to Elijah Muhammad as if he did something. Sabir Bey and these people giving honors to Nation of Islam as if they're doing something for our people. Not doing jack for our people, but selling them out. Not doing jack. All they're doing is selling out our people. But they're going to boast. They're going to boast about how connected to Scientology.
No, I'm answering you. Number one, I've been studying Scientology for 20 years. Listen, I've been studying Scientology for 20 years. Christianity for about 12 years. Islam actively for about the last 5 years.
So you don't know
Science,
the satanic rocks.
listen carefully. I'm responding to you. No, you asked me a question. I'm answering your question.
Now, Rizza Islam states that he's been studying Scientology for 20 years in this video. This video was recorded 3 years ago, which at that time, Rizza would have been 29 years old because he's 32 now. So, according to this video, Rizza Islam had been studying Scientology since he was 9 years old. So Rizza Islam is a Scientologist his whole life.
No, he's a Moorish scientist. And Nation of Islam saying that their Scientology connected and all that stuff is a lie. Because L. Ron Hubbard is equivalent to Noble Drew Ali. And Scientology is Moorish science. Just as Noble Drew Ali tried to lift the veil of deception from the Moors and their heritage, so did LRH try to lift the veil of deception from spiritual beings and their nature. It is therefore not really ironic that by giving a proper and respectful funeral service for LRH, I literally gated the Moorish Science Temple into my life. To remind you, when LRH wrote his work on oppression, he stated that the only place left in the world with even a vestigial element of freedom was the United States. This can now be attributed directly to the Moors. None of this would be known if it were not for Drew Ali and the dynamic movement he created, which began to flourish and reach critical mass in 1929. And that's why they got him out the way in 1929. That's why they got Garvey out the way, because this stuff reached critical mass. You know when something reaches critical mass? But what they didn't plan on was that new Moors would come in with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. And they're going to realize what Noble Drew Ali brought, and they're going to start carrying this stuff out. Which is why, again, everything goes full circle, which is why, again, right now, this is right now, they're celebrating a calypso singer with Moorish dancers and Moorish drumming. Right now. And this stuff is reaching critical mass again. 100 years later. What is it? 22? 22 right now. Right? So Drew Ali's gonna die again in 7 years. Prophets on the scene right now. Prophets, like Taj said back in the day. Prophets on the front burner again. He got taken off the back burner, and now he's on the front burner. And again, it's the time of the Moors again. So recognize that we're on a 100-year cycle of this stuff being brought up again. Right after 2029, all the Moors who know that they're Moors and all that stuff, all the Moors who were with Drew Ali back in 29, they're either gonna take their stuff and go about their business, right? Go about their business, and then these people are gonna be dumbass for 100 years, and then stuff's gonna happen again. Because it's about cycles. And like Grand Puba said, what goes around comes back around again. Alamo, is you with me? What goes around comes back around again. SOS, is you with me? What goes around comes back around again. Copy, 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 copy. Know that we are part
of this awakening. That's why Drew Ali said he brought you something you could jump about. He brought you something that you can shout about. Because no one else has this. All the other dummies that call themselves schools of thought, they don't have this. They can't jump around. They ain't got nothing to jump around about. Right? Just like ancient Kemet, the Moors became the custodians of the ancient Kemetic culture. Same thing right now. The Moors are the custodians of Moorish culture that was brought by our prophet Noble Drew Ali. And here we are, preserving the culture still. Turbans, fezzes, Moorish vests, drums, agriculture, horticulture, astrology. How many Moors out there got libraries? Weren't Moors the ones who had libraries? Who had libraries other than the Moors? These people in the bushes call themselves Indians. They didn't have any libraries. They talked to trees and stuff like that after they drank ayahuasca and whatever. And he's claiming that they're somebody. Claiming that they're somebody. Claiming that they're some ancient people or something like that because they did some rituals in the bushes. And then you ask them, hey, what's across the Atlantic Ocean? Atlantic Ocean? What's the ocean? We live on an island. We live at Turtle Island. We live in Turtle Island. We don't know what continents are. You dumbass. The Moors are the ones. All of us. Ones who know about their nationality and birthrights. Even when you go back to the ancient pictures, and you see the Moor standing on the steps cleaning his sword because a Moor had to get beheaded or whatever. The same stuff that we're doing right now with all these traders. Standing on the steps cleaning our sword. Because these people sold out the people. Have them standing around watching some Moroccans, don't even know what the hell's going on. That's how lost they are. Don't even know that these people are showing them their own culture from over on this side. They're thinking about some Africa stuff, slave. How come they're not dressed like slaves and all that stuff? Why? Drew Ali went over these people's head. And it was their duty to bring the people back into the fold. And they didn't. They decided to sell out, push black stuff on you, push Hebrew stuff on you, push Kemet stuff on you, push holistic this on you, push whatever and anything else that they want to push on you in order to have you thinking that that's your culture when it's not. If anybody's missing this, this is what they call Trinidad and Tobago right now. This is yesterday, last night. Last night, this is what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the Caribbean, West Indian, etc. islands. Why do they have Moroccan stuff going on in Trinidad and Tobago right now? You think it's not time of the Moors right now? It's not. It's the 1920s right now. It's 1922 right now. We didn't even get to Holy Temple of Science being a civic organization and stuff yet. Moors are getting into their stuff and they're out there being Moors. You ain't got no institution. Moors are just being Moors. Moors are just being themselves. Doing whatever they can to push the culture. So the world knows that the Moors are still here. They ain't gone anywhere. Getting called up to go dance at a Key to the City celebration for a Calypso singer. Oh yeah, keep in mind, Farrakhan was a Calypso singer. Keep in mind. Keep in mind, the Charmer The charmer? This is a charmer. If someone could charm you, you better watch them people. If his name was the Charmer as a calypso singer, you better watch this guy telling you about your black Asiatics and all that stuff. Because as a calypso singer, he was the charmer. He didn't get no honors as no calypso singer. But look what they did to Machel, Montano. Machel. And then Machel's getting the key of the city from Joel. Stop this. Stop the dumb stuff. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to you. All the Moors who know that they're Moors. All the Moors who honors Noble Drew Ali. All the Moors who honors their fez, turban, Moorish culture, Holy Quran, Moroccan flag, and all that. Honors to you. Supreme honors to you. We want to make sure that you know that you're on the right path. You just came into this yesterday, if you're on the right path, because look what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago right now for some calypso stuff. Honors to all you Moors who've been standing on your squares. Honors to all you Moors who've been risking your life for these people. Honors to all you Moors. All you Moors who've been risking your life, getting kidnapped and all other type of madness, and then get unkidnapped and you're still Moors. Honors to you. You didn't fold. You stayed true to the cause. You were in there, locked up, said your Moorish American prayer and all that stuff. Stayed straight on the path. Honors to all the Moors who know that they're Moors. Honors to all you newly awakened Moors just waking out your sleep, still have yampy in your eye. Your breath still smelling stinky, you brush your teeth yet. Honors to you. You know you have the morning breath still. It's okay. Just go brush your teeth and go study. We're here. We're here right now. Like we're here. It's on right now. It's been on, but it's really on right now. Because like we're saying, this is Trinidad and Tobago last night. So if you're not a Moor yet, the train is off the tracks. The boat has left. The boat has left the dock, and the train is off the tracks. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the master teachers who didn't fold. We already know who they are. Too much to mention. Honors to all the master teachers who kept teaching us about our Moorish nationality and birthrights. And of course, honors to Marcus Garvey, and supreme honors to the noble prophet, Drew Ali, who taught us the truth about our nationality and our birthrights, that we're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. Honors to all the mothers, honors to all the Moors worldwide, honors to the prophet. We love you, Noble Drew Ali, and we love all you Moors out there for being Moors. Islam to all.